Benny, what are you doing here?
What? Can't come by and say hello to my beautiful wife and maybe get a little hug from my daughter? Hey, Rebecca.
Just stop, okay? We're divorced. We've been divorced for years.
Ugh, and you haven't changed one bit. Still, such a fucking buzzkill. Hey, baby girl. I know that you missed your daddy, right?
You okay?
You know what? I'm sick of your shit, you little brat.
Don't you even think?
Oh, shit. This ain't over yet, you know that? Hey, you listen to me very carefully. You touch them again, and I'll make you suffer in ways that you can't imagine. Over and over until you beg me to end it. Fuck away from me. Fuck.
1 second, he was the legendary king of guns, taking life from 4,000 meters away and breaking a world record. The next second, all he wanted was to take off his uniform and go home, to make up for what he owed his daughter and grandson. Yet before he could return to a quiet life, a nationally celebrated medal ceremony awaited him, one held for a hero who had never once appeared in public. At this moment, the ceremony hall was solemn and dignified, the atmosphere building to its peak. The host, in the most impassioned tone, was introducing this guardian of the nation to the world. With his own hands, he defended democracy and saved countless lives. He was also the holder of the longest confirmed sniper kill in history. His code named the King of Guns. Today, President Bradford would personally award this legendary hero the nation's highest honor, marking his first ever public appearance. Such an extraordinary honor could only be traced back to his final top-secret mission. At that time, the man named Carl and his team had locked onto a target 4,000 meters away. A distance far beyond the limits of human sniping, so extreme that even his battle-hardened teammates believed it was impossible. They urged him to abort the mission immediately, fearing their position would be exposed. But Carl remained calm, calculating wind speed and bullet trajectory with icy precision. There was not the slightest ripple in his eyes. He believed that a single bullet was all it would take to decide everything. Then came a deafening bang. 4,000 meters away, the target collapsed. Through the scope, his teammates witnessed the moment and erupted in disbelief. A new world record was born, and with it, the name King of Guns echoed across the world. The mission complete, this god of war who struck terror into his enemies could finally lay down his arms. After a lifetime on the battlefield, his only wish was to return to his shooting range, to return to his daughter and grandson, and make up for all the family time he had lost. But under the blazing spotlight, with the eyes of millions upon him, the president was ready. The entire hall held its breath, waiting for the mysterious hero who had never shown his face to step onto the stage for the first time. When the host called out the code name King of Guns at the top of his voice, would what awaited him be supreme honor? Or a shocking conspiracy long prepared just for him? And when the true face of this legendary warrior is finally revealed, what kind of storm will it unleash? One moment, this man was a legendary master sniper about to receive the highest medal of honor. The next, he willingly vanished into obscurity, working as a despised handyman at a rundown shooting range. The reason for this was a promise he had paid for with a life. The story goes back a few days earlier. The man's name is Carl, the world-shaking gun god. Standing before the grave of his fallen comrade Louis, he swore to seal away his weapons forever and spend the rest of his life protecting Louis's family. The moment the oath left his lips, he mysteriously disappeared from a medal ceremony watched by the entire nation. Now, Carl is working as an ordinary handyman at the shooting range owned by Louis's widow, Jane. Jane struggles to keep the range running on her own while raising her daughter, Rebecca. She has no idea who Carl really is and thinks of him only as a quiet, kind-hearted man. But the calm doesn't last long. A sleazy, unruly man barges in and asks Jane's gambling-addicted, good-for-nothing ex-husband. The moment he steps inside, he hurls insults at Jane, mocking her for taking a lowly handyman as her new lover, and shamelessly demands money to cover her gambling debts. Jane angrily refuses. She will never allow such human trash anywhere near her daughter. Enraged by the rejection, the ex-husband completely drops the pretense. He threatens Jane, saying that if she doesn't pay up, he'll come every day to cause trouble, even file malicious complaints to get her shooting range shut down. Even worse, he sets his sights on young Rebecca, threatening to harass the child at school. That threat ignites Jane's fury. As a B-level sharpshooter, she doesn't hesitate. She draws her gun and aims it at the demon who had crossed her bottom line. But the ex-husband is fearless. He knows Jane wouldn't dare pull the trigger in front of her daughter, and he only becomes more brazen in his provocation. In the instant of Jane's hesitation, the ex-husband suddenly lunges forward, seizing little Rebecca and dragging her into his arms as a hostage, forcing Jane to reveal where she hid the money. Carl witnesses everything from the side, his fists clenched tightly, killing intent surging in his eyes. Faced with a child taken hostage and a mother on the brink of collapse, how will this former gun god who swore never to fire another shot make his choice? Will he break his vow to protect the promise he made? Watch closely. 1 second. This man is a hopeless handyman, being bullied while a professional gunman points a gun at him. The next, he is forced into a gun assembly duel with that same mistake being one of his own fingers. This happened because moments earlier, the man fired with pinpoint precision to knock the gun out of the thug's hand in order to protect his wife and daughter. Completely enraging his opponent, now the thug who claims to be a B-level sharpshooter feels utterly humiliated. He slams a pistol onto the table and proposes a deadly wager. Both men will disassemble and reassemble the handgun at the same time. Whoever finishes first and fires wins. If the handyman wins, they leave immediately, but if he loses, he must sever the finger he just used to pull the trigger on the spot. Jenny, his wife, turns deathly pale and desperately tries to stop him. After all, the other man is a professionally trained gunman, while her husband Carl is just an ordinary handyman. But Carl gives his wife and daughter a reassuring look and accepts the challenge without hesitation. At the signal, the contest begins. The B-level gunman's hands move like lightning, parts flying through his fingers. His face is filled with contempt and cruelty, as if he is already picturing Carl's finger being cut off. Carl, by contrast, moves at an unhurried pace and even falls behind at one point, drawing mockery from the thug. And yet, at that very moment, Jenny is staring intently at Carl's hands. When an unbelievable thought flashes through her mind, that unique disassembly technique she has only ever seen it from her father. Why does Carl know it too? Just as the gunman is about to complete the assembly, something astonishing happens. With a sharp click, Carl has already finished every step. The cold muzzle of the gun is now aimed steadily at the gunman's forehead. The room falls into instant silence. The smug grin on the gunman's face freezes solid. He can't believe it. How could a shabby handyman possibly be faster than a B-level sharpshooter? It completely shatters everything he thought he knew. Carl wins the wager, but it isn't over yet. He slowly walks toward the female thug who had just bullied his daughter, his eyes icy as he delivers a final warning. If she ever dares to lay a hand on his family again, he will make her suffer pain 10,000 times worse than death. Terrified by the overwhelming war radiating from him, the woman trembles uncontrollably and flees the scene in disgrace. Just who is the seemingly ordinary handyman, Carl, and what earth-shaking identity is he hiding? And what secret connection lies between his godlike gun skills and his father-in-law? 1 second, this man is gently bandagging his wife as well. The next, he casually dismisses the world-class sharpshooter whom his wife and her colleagues practically worship, branding him as nothing more than a second-rate nobody. This happens because, in his eyes, this so-called shooting god isn't even worthy of tying his shoes. The story begins at a national shooting team selection trial. At this moment, the famous A-level sharpshooter Chris Redford is about to arrive on site. You have to understand, fewer than 100 people in the entire world have reached this level. To receive guidance from him is a once-in-a-lifetime dream for every competitor. The woman's colleagues are buzzing with excitement, urging her to seize the chance and show her skills in front of her idol. She values this opportunity deeply as well. Yet the true idol in her heart is someone else entirely. The legendary figure known as the King of Guns, an unrivaled existence standing at the very pinnacle of the world. But just as everyone waits in eager anticipation, her husband Carl reacts with unmistakable contempt the moment he hears Redford's name. With a cold laugh, he shatters the myth. The so-called top-tier master revered by everyone is, in truth, nothing more than a second-rate lieutenant whose job is maintaining firearms. This seemingly ordinary family man, who is he really? And when the sharpshooter instructor he labels a second-rate nobody finally stands before him, what kind of earth-shattering reversal will unfold and leave the entire venue stunned? Just a second ago, this man was nothing more than a bullied janitor in the club. The next moment, he was about to use a freshly repaired junk rifle to leave everyone speechless. The story takes place on the most critical day in the shooting club's history. A powerful investor, Mr. Redford, is coming. Someone who can decide the club's survival. If they win his approval, everything will change. The owner, Jane, orders everyone to be on high alert. yet insists on keeping the most insignificant worker there, Carl. Her decision immediately angers Alex, the club's ace shooter and team captain. In his eyes, Carl is just a useless cleaner who will only ruin things. Alex publicly warns him to know his place and not dream of standing out. The other members join in with mocking remarks while Carl endures it all in silence. When Mr. Redford arrives, Alex steps forward and delivers a flawless shooting performance, earning loud applause. But just as he is basking in praise, his custom rifle suddenly jams. Seizing the chance to humiliate Carl, Alex throws the rifle at him and orders the janitor to fix it. Laughter erupts. Moments later, Carl calmly sets the rifle down, then removes the scope. Alex scoffs, accusing him of bluffing, and demands Carl test the gun himself. He points to a target 50 meters away, a scope-less rifle, a janitor, an impossible challenge. The entire room falls silent as all eyes lock onto Carl. A moment ago, this man was just a ridiculed janitor at the shooting range. The next, he fired a single shot so extraordinary it stunned everyone. Yet, to the top-tier tycoon Mr. Redford and the malicious Air Matthew, it was nothing more than a lucky shot from a cloud. The story begins at a shooting club on the brink of bankruptcy. Matthew brought Redford under the pretense of inspection, but in truth, it was to humiliate. His lackeys immediately jumped out, pointing at the janitor and berating him for wasting Redford as precious time. Matthew himself openly sneered, mocking the club as a trash heap only capable of hiring clownish employees, even shaming the owner, Jane, saying she had turned the place into a circus. Unable to tolerate the provocation, Jane finally lashed out at Matthew. As it turned out, the arrogant Matthew was her own uncle. The shooting range had been the sole inheritance of Jane's late father, a hero, who was also Matthew's brother, Louis. Yet when Matthew mentioned his heroic brother, his face held no respect, only mockery. Jane warned him she would never sell her father's legacy. But Matthew's next move was even more shameless. He threw down a document and proudly announced he had acquired the bank that had once lent money to the club. Now, he was Jane's sole creditor. The minimum payments Jane had been struggling to make were negligible against the crushing interest. His scheme was clear. He planned to force Jane into ruin and claim her father's inheritance outright. Cornered, furious, and helpless, Jane's mind flashed back to the janitor's breathtaking shot. This man had quietly worked in the club for a full year, yet she had never suspected the extraordinary skill he possessed. Was that shot really just luck? In her darkest moment, this janitor revealed his hidden power. Who exactly was he? In facing her malicious uncle's relentless attacks, could he be Jane's only hope to turn the tide? Just to seize the inheritance, this ruthless man went so far as to force his own niece to gamble her father's lifelong legacy in a life-or-death showdown. It all began with the shooting match he proposed. The arrogant man's name was Matthew. Today, he arrived at his niece Jane's shooting range with only one goal: to take it for himself. He mercilessly threatened Jane that a word from him, the land would be auctioned off immediately, and Jane and her family would be driven out. Jane pleaded, telling Matthew that this range was her father's only legacy. But he remained unmoved. Outrageously, he pretended to propose a fair duel. He invited national team coach Redford to act as referee and challenged Jane to a best-of-3 shooting match. If Jane won, he would not only stop harassing her but even fund renovations for the range. If she lost, however, she would have to surrender the land forever. Seeing her daughter's terrified eyes, desperate Jane had no choice but to grit her teeth and agree. The rules were announced. The first round was moving clay targets, 15 bullets, with the winner being whoever hit the most targets in the shortest time. As soon as this was declared, Matthew's side erupted with confident laughter. They had sent Captain Alex, a shooter who had once broken the state's clay shooting record. Jane's team turned pale. Though Alex was only a B-level shooter, he had twice defeated a level marksman in the clay shooting discipline. This was his absolute domain. Despair spread instantly. On one side stood a legendary champion with an impeccable record. On the other, Jane's team had only one seemingly ordinary cowboy, Carl. Everyone assumed the outcome was certain. Jane was destined to lose. Yet when it came time to choose who would go first, Jane stunned everyone by sending up the least promising-looking cowboy, Carl. Matthew's side burst into uncontrollable laughter, believing Jane had given up. This overlooked cowboy, was he truly a hidden master, or just a sacrificial pawn? Facing a legendary champion's overwhelming skill, could he possibly create a miracle? Watch closely. This man, apparently just a gun-cleaning janitor, was pushed onto the shooting range by the female team captain. At a moment when the club's very survival was at stake, Everyone was waiting to see him fail, but they didn't know that the so-called waste was actually a legendary soldier, the gun master even top sharpshooter's fear. It all started with a duel that would decide the ownership of the shooting range. Jane's team had already lost the first round, and the opposing side arrogantly claimed that defeating the A-level shooter Nate was just their warm-up. Another loss would mean Jane's father's shooting range would change hands. Just when everyone expected Jane to send out her ace, she made a shocking choice. The team's most overlooked janitor, Carl, would go first. The arena erupted. Carl's teammates immediately protested, mocking him as someone who only polished guns and couldn't shoot, saying he would just embarrass himself. The opponents laughed uproariously, claiming Jane's team was full of trash and that sending a janitor was basically an excuse for failure. Under immense pressure and with no other choice, Jane watched as Carl, despised by all, slowly stepped onto the range. His opponent, a B-level sharpshooter, looked down on him with contempt and arrogance, mocking him as unworthy even to clean a gun, and condescendingly let Carl choose his weapon first. In front of everyone, Carl completely ignored the powerful, competition-ready shotgun on the table and instead casually picked up the most ordinary handgun. The crowd went wild. Everyone thought he had lost his mind. His teammates swore and accused him of embarrassing the team, and even Jane's eyes filled with doubt had she really made the wrong choice. The opponent laughed again, treating Carl as a clown for show. But just as everyone prepared to watch a disaster, Carl calmly said using a shotgun against an opponent of this level is overkill. Was he blindly arrogant, or did he really possess extraordinary skill? This despised janitor was about to turn the tables with just a simple handgun. The man was about to blindfold himself, preparing to perform a miracle that would go down in the history of shooting. Yet just a moment ago, he had been nothing more than a mock, useless repairman, even humiliated by his opponent's bullets, left to his own fate. And all of this began with his opponent, a genius marksman named Nate. This was a top-level duel where honor hung in the balance. The prodigy Nate went first, hitting targets with pinpoint accuracy in just 8 seconds, sending the crowd into a frenzy. But even more outrageous, he deliberately saved one bullet, planning a double kill with a single shot to showcase the overwhelming dominance of an A-class shooter. It wasn't just a display of skill, it was blatant contempt aimed at Carl, who was about to step onto the stage. Arrogantly, Nate tossed the extra bullet at Carl's feet, a cruel memento to remind him of the complete humiliation he was about to endure, even implying that Carl might use it to end himself in shame. When it was Carl's turn, the arena filled instantly with scorn and ridicule. In everyone's eyes, Carl was just an overestimating, worthless repairman utterly unworthy of standing there. His teammates urged him to give up, to avoid further humiliation. Nate's allies cursed him maliciously, eager to see him fail, hoping to reveal to Jane, who had always supported him, that he was truly worthless. Just as everyone expected Carl to collapse, a clear voice rang out. A young girl with a ponytail spoke firmly, saying that she believed in Carl. This pure trust drew ruthless mockery from the bullies, telling her not to trust the bad man. But she remained unwavering, because she knew that Uncle Carl never lied. Bearing the contempt of all and the lone hope of the girl, Carl stepped forward. He didn't raise his gun immediately. Instead, he wrote a mysterious number, 17, on the target, leaving everyone puzzled. Then, in the very next moment, he did something that made everyone's minds go blank. He tore off a strip of cloth and blindfolded himself. The crowd gasped. Everyone thought this repairman had completely lost his mind. But what hidden strength did a man pushed to the edge possess? Blindfolded, could he still perform a miracle and make all who had humiliated him pay the price?